I think we're live. There we go.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Josh Brown here, managing editor with Geist magazine. I'm joined today with Maher,
Yes.
founder of Synapse. I got her last name right. We were prepping that before we started. Founder of Synapse here in Geist. Marie, for those watching it, Synapse it's an online service that you provide for people.
Yes.
Really unique story. Maybe for those hearing this for the first time, kind of give us some insight into what Synapse is and how you started this.
Sure. So Synapse is an online community that connects parents who have children with special needs with pre-qualified babysitters. So at 3 years old, my son was diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum. And at the time, I had was already running an online sitter service for any parent and any sitter here in Indianapolis. And as time went on, his behaviors started to come out, and it was just harder and harder for me to find a babysitter. So I realized I needed to find a different kind of sitter that understood our son's behaviors, but also knew that he was more than just his diagnosis. He was still a child. So that's what we did. We decided to pivot, become Synapse Sitters, and focus on the special needs community.
Awesome. And so, like you said, I mean, you were already running at the time an online site to kind of help parents connect with babysitters just in general.
Yes.
But this being a personal passion for you, that shifted, obviously. As you shifted to this and doing this, how quickly did you find out that, hey, I'm not the only one alone kind of looking for qualified sitters to help?
Very quickly. So I had joined some Facebook groups that were all just special needs parents.
Yeah.
And it was just such a huge problem. I just started to realize, okay, I'm not the only one experiencing this. But the flip side of that, I began talking to my son's therapist because they were these amazing people that he adored. He spent most of his day with. And I noticed this common thread. They all had a background in human services. But beyond that, they were always looking for opportunities for income.
Right.
But babysitting my child, because they attend that center, there's a policy in place that prohibits them from doing so.
Okay.
But there is not a policy in place that prohibits them from babysitting a child with special needs outside of their place of employment. So that's kind of when I realized we've really got a market here. And not only can we help parents, essentially we're creating jobs and opportunity for people as well.
Yeah, awesome. Well, what's it been like for you response-wise so far? Because I know we were talking, I mean, you've got well over 100 parents using the service online now, but another part of it, and maybe you kind of explain how it works for people, is you've got the parents who are using it as a subscription type of service, right? But then you've got these qualified sitters who are looking for work that can utilize it as well. So maybe explain the process of how it works.
Sure. So it's two parts. So parents can join. They pay a monthly fee of $29.95. They can create a profile, short bio, kind of describe their needs and expectations. Sitters can join for free. Okay. However, we need to verify that they have some type of background, whether it be education or employment within human services. Now, once they're verified, they are then approved and can begin having access to our parent members. And they can basically, essentially view job postings, and everyone can begin messaging and connecting directly on our app.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so for your son, Eves, right?
Yes.
You mentioned to me when we talked, and you kind of got the diagnosis 2 years ago, that there's that ignorance, right? At the time, you didn't know, well, is it just behavior issues?
Right.
So for a parent with a child with special needs, how much have you learned through this process, just diving into this?
Oh my gosh, what haven't I learned? There was a lot of things in the beginning. You kind of have this future way you want to see your children.
Right.
And then, for instance, for us with autism, we had no experience with autism, and it was all of a sudden all this unknown. So we kind of needed some time to grieve what we thought would be the future for our son.
Right.
In addition to that, we just decided to just really embrace who he was. Even though he wasn't like me or my husband, there didn't need to be any layers of fear there. We just need to embrace who he was. And as we've done that, it's been the best thing that's ever happened to our family, because I've kind of carried that on to my daughter, just really embracing who she is. To speak to that, kids get really fixated on certain things, and a lot of time it's a toy or a cartoon or things like that. Well, my son's fixated on vacuums.
Yeah.
A little different. I've probably got the cleanest floors in town. He goes
keeps them
beyond.
clean for
Oh
you
my
every day.
gosh, every day. So we've done all the vacuums, all the toy ones, all the real ones. He recently just had a birthday a few weeks ago. He turned 6 years old. He's into carpet cleaners
Yeah.
now. So now we've graduated from
Deep cleaning.
oh yeah, we've gone into deep cleaning. So we have to do sections, and we've limited it to just a couple of times a week of the actual carpets within the house where we say, okay, we will carpet clean this. But just really embracing that.
Yeah.
We've had vacuum themed birthday parties. We had one at Bongo Boy 2 weeks ago where his favorite song right now is AC/DC Thunderstruck. So we
Nice.
legitimately had a vacuum parade
Yeah.
where we had friends and family bring their vacuums, and we all just basically danced and pushed around these vacuums. And I don't know the last time anyone's experienced AC/DC with vacuums, but I can tell you it's magical.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful just to see how, these things that could be considered quirky and are just
Right.
who he is, like, brings these people together, and it's just so fun.
I bet he had a blast with that.
Oh my God, he lost his mind. He just thought
Yeah.
it was the best thing to see all these different vacuums in one place.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know you kind of piggybacked off that idea as well this past year, running for the Champion of the Year for Best
Yes.
Buddies, right?
Yeah.
Kind of explain that. You kind of jumped on the vacuum idea and were able to sell some shirts that went to that cause, right?
Yeah, so about a year ago, I had a girlfriend of mine who had made my son a shirt that said Eve's Vacuum Sales and Service. She had it in his size and a size up, and he wore that thing, almost daily. And people saw it and loved it, and they were like, where can I get one? So I reached out to her, and come to find out, it's just a children's site she went to. And so I reached out to the people who designed it and asked if they could send me the design. And we just loved the idea. So when I got invited to run for Champion of the Year with Best Buddies, which is, by the way, an amazing organization.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of time to be campaigning because I'm doing, the startup thing and the mom thing and the
Right.
friend thing and the wife thing. I wear all the hats.
Yeah.
But I knew if I could get on people's phones or their computers, I might have a chance to really raise some funds here. So I went and designed these Eve's Vacuum t-shirts, and we sold quite a few to people we didn't know. Just from the shirts alone, we were able to donate $1,200
Wow.
in profit within just 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Within just 3 weeks of that campaign. We also designed some other inclusive themed t-shirts, and those sold great as well. But yeah, just the Eve's and the vacuum t-shirts are just always a big hit.
That's awesome. Well, I bet he loved that too, knowing that there's people out there who wearing his shirts now.
People
right?
were tagging me, and his shirt has been to Disney World 3 times.
Wow.
Already, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
That is really
Yeah.
cool. Well, awesome. So it's a personal story for you, right? As you've gotten into this more and really, you found these qualified sitters, like you said, that in and of itself is a lengthy process to make sure you're finding the right people and doing these background checks. But I'm curious, and maybe for people watching that maybe have kids with special needs of their own, and they're thinking, man, this is something that I need to use, right? What are some of the things that you're hearing from parents, maybe testimonial-wise, that have used your service and been able to find these babysitters?
It's really fulfilling and inspiring the days I wake up and I get these emails or these messages saying, just to have the option to have true peace of mind while I'm away. It's been, life-changing within our household.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, my husband and I, we experienced the same thing.
Right.
We were actually able to walk away and come home, and not only are both my children taken care of, and I'm not getting calls home that they don't understand what's going on with my son, I get what everyone else gets now. My dishes are clean, my kids' toys are put away. I get that normal sitter experience. And that's something we've been able to extend to other people here in Indianapolis. And it's just, it makes me feel purposeful. That one random message from someone, that will move me and inspire me for a lifetime. And it just makes me realize we need to get this out to more people.
Yeah. Well, talk about that a little bit, right? Where all are you offering this service at? Obviously, you're located here in Geist. I know it's kind of around Indianapolis and Indiana in general,
Yes.
but maybe give people a feel of where they can find babysitters at around central Indiana right now.
Sure. So it's basically Indianapolis. If you were to stick a pin in the center of
Sure.
Indianapolis, we're talking about Indian surrounding areas. So
Okay.
about 10 to 12 miles out right now. We are onboarding pre-qualified sitters in the Lafayette and West Lafayette
Oh,
area.
cool.
Yeah.
So
So that's
really
the first
branching
thing.
out.
Yeah. So the first thing we do is we have to find sitters.
Right.
And we have to pre-qualify them, which it is a process. However, this week we are going to be hiring for campus ambassadors and community ambassadors for South Bend, Mishawaka, and Fort Wayne.
Awesome.
Once we get those hires, we'll be onboarding and pre-qualifying sitters from there. And from there, we'll be bringing parents on, because there's a certain number of sitters we have to reach, and there's a tipping point that creates a true community of, connecting, and it gives people enough candidates to choose from. So we are expanding within Indiana, and then we'll be looking for lookalike markets like Indianapolis to kind of just keep going. Hopefully we'll get enough revenue together where we can go from web app to mobile app and just keep connecting and helping people.
Wow, that's awesome. Incredible. Well, this is an awesome story. Maybe to wrap things up, like
Sure.
I said, for those watching, maybe they do have kids with special needs and they're interested in this service. Maybe tell them where they can go online and how they can get plugged into this.
Sure. So we are at synapsesitters.com. Right up top, there's a tab for parents to join or for sitters to join. Parents is just $29.95 a month. You have access to all of our sitters. I highly recommend you don't just hire one sitter. I really want you to consider hiring a team of sitters, because your sitter, their date night might become, your date nights, vice versa.
Sure.
It's always good to hire a team and have that backup. But if you're on for a month and you just want to be there on for a month, I would definitely recommend interviewing and meeting with a handful of sitters.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, everybody. Marie, thanks for letting me come
Thank
by your
you.
home today
I
and
appreciate
stop by
it.
and talk. Be on the lookout for this story soon in Geist Magazine. And thanks again, Marie, and sharing this story. And thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you again soon.